All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. The Four Agreements, pages 89, 90, and 91. And then the next time we'll begin on page 93 for chapter 6. And so today we're going to be talking about the concepts of failure and the judge that we have inside of us. But also, I'm not going to record for too long. I wanted to get some sunlight, so I came outside to do some journaling, and also because I kept this book in my car last night, and I did that on purpose so I would come back outside and get it. But I didn't want to record inside, so I'm outside, and it's really hot. It's like the sun's baking in my car, so I was with the doors open and, reading. And I'm going to do some journaling in a bit with the doors open. But right now, while I'm recording, the doors are closed. So it's like a sauna, but worse. It's not dry. It's like wet in here. It's not like a dry heat. So this is not pleasant at all. But very good few pages. So, previously they were talking about doing your best and trying to follow these four agreements, and they go into talking about on page 90 this quote, this section that I thought sounded good. So if you fall, do not judge do not give your judge the satisfaction of turning you into a victim. No, be tough with yourself. Stand up and make the agreement again. So he's talking about, how he didn't always follow the agreements. Like every so often, we fall off of that, and it gets easier and easier as you try to do it more and more. That kind of reminds me of this concept that I'll talk about very briefly. I'm literally sweating, but it's good to sweat. I was, thinking about, how, initially when I would think about mental health, I would think about, eventually, I'll get to a place where I never have negative experiences and I never have bad, I never make mistakes. I never, get depressed. I never have insomnia. I never get angry. I'm never sad. I'm never, mean or rude. I'll just always do everything perfectly well. I used to think that about religion as well, that, eventually you get to a place where you're practicing all these things where you just don't do the things that the religion teaches you not to do. And that's not accurate. We're human beings. We get into these automatic processes and we aren't always able to be fully mindful all the time. Some of us, I think, are better at it than others. And even so, we're not always, we're not robots. We're not able to be, completely regimented all the time. And even robots, phones glitch, computers glitch. How many times have you had some weird error where Windows is updating and it's it's in this weird cycle and it won't stop, doing this weird thing, it's computers glitch too, their machinery, they have problems, they malfunction. How many machines do you know that are out there that require some form of calibration? It's or upgrading or maintenance. It's things get worn, that's just naturally how it is. If you use it, or even if you don't use it, it's going to have a wear process to it, the way I see it. It's kind of maybe not the most in-depth way of looking at it, but it's say if you have tools or a car or something, right? You can use it and wear it down, or if you don't use it, it's still going to need repairs. How many people have seen those cars that, somebody set out in their yard, maybe they were going to fix it up or something, and it's up on blocks and it's sitting there and Initially when someone puts a car up like that, even if it's in bad condition, it's like, okay, you kind of see the condition. But if that car sits there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it wears out and nobody was driving it. Or literally, if you're like me, if you grew up playing sports and stuff and your folks have a house or something where you have you had sports equipment, and say there's stuff out there from when you were a kid, maybe there was some ball that got pushed into a bush somewhere and nobody took it out for a year or two, and there's some basketball that gets completely destroyed by the sun. Or if you leave your house, or I have a bedroom at my parents' house, and so I have stuff there that I had since I was younger, and it's I have a keyboard, and for quite a few years before I rearranged my room way back, I had that keyboard underneath one of my windows. And the keys yellowed because they're white keys and they yellowed. And I've had books that I had next to that windowsill, and those books, the pages got yellowed. Or I've had receipts that, you keep them in the car and they kind of fade or whatever. It's things can wear from use, things can wear from non-use. So just like with humans, it's if you're laying around all day and not using your body or using your mind, we all know that doesn't usually go well. That creates negative issues. And if you are doing, more, and you are, active, you might have a risk of overstraining something or injury or some kind of pain, even though it's part of the process type of pain. Like when you work out, you might have pain, but it's it's for a reason. Maybe it's not because you're injured, but because, your muscles are kind of doing what they do to kind of improve, and you're, for you to get stronger. And, also just mentally, psychologically, emotionally, it's we can't always feel 100% every single day of the year for every single year. That's not likely. Something's going to happen, either a situation or just, you were in a rush a little bit. One day, you can do everything you can to your ability, but then who's to say when there's a road blocked and you can't get to work on time, and then you have to skip you were going to have breakfast at work that day, but then you get there at 10 instead of 9 because of this really horrible roadblock situation that you couldn't do anything about, and you happen to be so late that you missed the work breakfast, and now you never skip breakfast before work, but it's because you were going to have breakfast at work, you were trying to get there for breakfast and you ended up missing it. And just that one day with no breakfast can totally throw you off if you're used to eating breakfast all the time. Things like that are going to be out of your own control, out of our own control. So there's processes where failure is going to happen. There's processes where things are going to kind of go back into old routines. But each time, a lot of times we'll come back at it stronger, and with more ability to work through it, as long as we keep on trying to work on things. That's kind of the more of the point, So I'm burning, I'm melting. I'm going to stop this recording. Thanks for listening.